Hey guys, in this video I am comparing two budget-friendly manual prime lenses. Both are 35mm. The first is the Neewer or Makey. Both are made by the same company. This is the 35mm F1.7, which I have recommended and reviewed multiple times on this channel, versus the brand new 7artisans 35mm F1.2. Now these are the boxes and here are the lenses themselves. So let's start by taking a closer look at each of these. So these lenses are very compact. I would almost say that they are pancake lenses. They are also very similar in size. Overall length is about the same. The Neewer lens is here on the right. It is slightly longer and a little bit more substantial in girth as well as weight. The 7artisans lens is more compact, surprisingly, even though it's f1.2. So f1.2, f1.7, you can clearly see the difference in front lens element as well as opening overall. So beyond that, they are well built. Both of them feel very substantial. If I had to say which one feels more like a tank of a lens, I'd say that the 7artisans really edges it out a little bit, simply because it feels like it's a lot more weight in a smaller package. Both of them have a pretty smooth focus ring. The one on the Neewer is slightly more stiff, so it's a little bit more difficult to turn around. Around the back, both lenses have metal mounts, no electronic connections because these are manual focus lenses. Both of them have declicked apertures, so you can see the aperture blades on the inside of the lens opening and closing. Same thing with the 7artisans lens. So there are a lot of similarities between these two lenses. Both are made in China, both are inexpensive, both are fast primes. So I'd say it's a pretty fair comparison. Here is the 7artisans lens on my A6000. You could see that it is about the size of the kit lens when it's fully collapsed. Now as you focus, the barrel does extend a little bit, but it is still very compact. That is what it looks like on the camera. Pretty interesting and unique just because of the way that it tapers in. But it's a good looking lens overall. Very smooth focus ring, as I mentioned. Aperture control is nice and easy and smooth as well. Here is the Neewer lens on my A6000, and same story here. The barrel extends a little bit, but it is still very compact, about the same size as the kit lens. The aperture control, declicked, very smooth and easy to access. I'd say that it feels a little bit less secure on the camera as you compare it to the 7artisans, but it's pretty close. And I'd say it looks great looking at the front and the side profile. So I didn't want to bore you guys with 24 photos from each of these lenses side by side, so only took a couple, and here they are. All right, so the first thing that I wanted to demonstrate is the 7artisans lens, how sharp it is wide open at f1.2 versus stopping it down to about f1.7. So the 1.2 image is on the left, 1.7 is on the right. So let's zoom in and take a look at these. These are done in aperture priority. And you can see that wide open, the lens isn't exactly tack sharp. You can see that it is noticeably better when stopped down a little bit, but it's not terrible either. Bokeh is creamier at f1.2, as you would expect. But overall the image is a little bit sharper, a little better with the f1.7. So let's throw in the Neewer lens. What I'll do is I will keep all of the 7artisan images on the left and all of the Neewer images on the right. So these ones are shot wide open for the Neewer and stop down a little bit on the 7artisans lens. Now both of these are done at about 1.7. I say about because the markings on the 7artisans aren't exactly super precise, so we'll see what kind of difference we get. First thing that you'll notice is that the 7artisans image is a little bit brighter, and you can see that there's a little bit less vignetting as well. So let's take a look at sharpness. Immediately the 7artisans lens looks a little sharper, even though if you look at what the camera's doing, In aperture priority, it's shooting 1/800 on the 7artisans versus 1/640. Looking at the face, I would say that the 7artisans lens is sharper and more detail there. Let's take a look at the bokeh. It is pretty close. See nice circular bokeh balls, and really the Neewer background blur is not bad at all. So this next shot is stopped down to f2.8 on both lenses. So looking at this here, we have a tree trunk, a little bit more crisp and sharper looking with the 7artisans, not quite as crisp with the Neewer lens. And then as you move over, same thing. Take a look at the corners though. I noticed this in a lot of the shots. The 7artisans lens tends to smear the corners quite a bit. You'll notice that in almost every corner. This one's not too bad. Let's take a look at this one. Again, pretty smeared, almost distorted in a way. So anyway, that's just a difference between the two of them. Next shot, this one's done at f4. The 7artisans lens is a challenge to focus, and the Neewer lens is not very much easier. You can see that it looks like I may have missed focus slightly, but the Neewer lens, interestingly, is significantly darker. Putting one image over the other, the big difference that you can see is just the colors. So here's the Neewer, here is the 7artisans, Neewer 7artisans. So again, you have some vignetting. Looks like the 7artisans is also slightly wider in aspect. Next shot, this is done at f8, so this is typical of what you would get from a landscape shot. Now I tried to focus on this brick out here, so we'll zoom in and take a look at which one of these looks better. Obviously, 7artisans is a lot brighter. It's letting in more light. T-stops. Sharpness is about the same here. Let's start moving up. So more clear here just because of the light. Let's take a look at the corner. So it looks like a little sharper here, but the very corner is pretty distorted or fuzzy. This is pretty soft here. Slightly more definition, I think, with the 7artisans lens, and then more smeared corners. So I noticed that with a lot of these shots. 7artisans just smears the corners a bit. This next shot is done at f5.6, and I focused on this tree trunk here, so we'll take a look and see which one is sharper. This is, I'm going to say, a draw. I don't see much of a difference here. Okay, so this a little bit more sharp here. This is getting soft. And wow, that is some chromatic aberration from the 7artisans lens. So that is not good. When you look at the Neewer lens, it's just soft. Let's take a look at the other corner. So it looks like the Neewer is a little sharper here. Chromatic aberration and soft on the 7artisans. Water, same thing. Neewer still has some detail in the corner. You have some purple fringing and not very sharp on the 7artisans. So overall, this one, I'd say that the win goes to the Neewer lens just because it has less chromatic aberration. Even though it's softer, that is just not good. That's pretty ugly for the 7artisans lens. The last shot here is a portrait. This one is done at f1.7 on both lenses, same settings. Let's look at bokeh. For some reason, the bokeh on the 7artisans lens looks creamier to me, and you can see that it is a little bit more out of focus. Let's take a look at sharpness on the subject. So again, 7artisans is a little bit brighter. I'd say as far as sharpness, they're about the same, maybe even slightly better on the Neewer lens. This side is about a draw, but from a distance, both images look decent. So coming into this comparison, I was expecting the Neewer/Mikey 35mm f1.7 lens to be the clear winner. and I was pleasantly surprised by the performance of the 7artisans. So to summarize what you just saw, the 7artisans lens lets in more light. Noticeably more light, even at the same exact aperture as the Neewer lens. Now obviously this is a faster lens as well, so you can shoot it wide open and create more of that blurry, creamy bokeh. Since the beginning, I have recommended the Neewer and Mikey versions of this lens to those who are looking for something that's budget friendly, manual, and takes decently sharp photos. And it's still a great lens, but I do think that this one is slightly better. Now, obviously there's a price difference. So right now it's about $89 for this lens, whereas the 7artisans lens is about $145. So you're looking at about a $50 difference between these two. Is it worth the price difference? It's up to you. Now, if I were to choose one of these lenses to keep and I was only able to keep one of them, I would choose the 7artisans lens. I just think it's quirky and fun and cool. The thing that I liked more is the fact that it seemed to be a little bit sharper in most of the side-by-side comparisons. The fact that the focus ring was smoother. I wish that it had more of a rotation so that you could really nail down focus. I think that in some of the images where I saw that this was not as sharp as the Neewer, it was really the result of the focus ring not giving me enough range to really nail down that focus. But this is a great lens, super compact, easy to use. If you are looking for something that's small, decently budget friendly, is very fast, and you don't mind spending $145, definitely check this one out. Now, last time I checked on Amazon, it was out of stock. So as of the date of this video, it's not available on Amazon, or at least it's not in stock. So I'll post a link to B&H Photo where it appears to be in stock there. I will also post links to this Neewer and the Makey version of this lens if you are interested in checking that out. So let me know down below what you guys think of each of these lenses, which one of the two you prefer. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all of the likes, comments, and support. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.